Did you know there are 3 different types of anxiety? I know, right? Like we need more than one. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 types so that you can know what types you are, which anxiety that you have, and then what to do about it, because living with anxiety sucks. Oh, are you trying to read? Oh, no, please go away. Oh, no, I'm not gonna bother you. I'll just stand here and hang out. You go ahead and read your little teeny tiny book. Just kidding. Who do you think I am, leaving you alone? I'm gonna be really loud, obnoxious, and you're gonna have to try to ignore me. Blah, 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 blah. I'm Abby. I'm stupid. You can't even read. Look at you. You're such a failure. You shouldn't be taking time to read. You know, you have a to-do list as long as China or a Rite Aid receipt. That anxiety is called the yell, and it is characterized by author Alicia H. Clark in her book, Hack Your Anxiety, highly recommend, but she calls the yell anxiety an anxiety that won't be ignored. It's incessant and annoying, and it makes everyday tasks completely unmanageable. I've experienced the yell anxiety during very tumultuous parts of my life. So for example, in college, someone really close to me was going through addiction and struggling with that, and as a result, I couldn't sleep. My anxiety was screaming at me. I felt like my brain was being electrocuted. I couldn't focus. It was so overwhelming. I was not functioning hardly at all. Okay, so we explored the first most obvious type of anxiety. The next one that we're gonna talk about, the next type, is a little bit more insidious because it doesn't quite show up as anxiety. You guys have all probably felt it at one point in your life. It is called the chatter. Oh good, you're making lunch.
Yep, I'm making sandwiches for everyone.
Did you remember to make a shopping list for your grocery trip tonight? You have a ton of people coming over next week, and this is your only time to shop, so you better make a list. Thank God you reminded me, or I would have forgotten a ton of stuff. Grapes.
Aren't you freaked out that you haven't started your work project yet?
Yes, I am. If I were you, I would think about that a lot, and then I would go to the office and work on it until late into the evening, and you're cranky and you're hungry, but it doesn't matter because you have to finish that project.
How are you even sitting here if you haven't finished the project yet?
Oh my God, you're right. I have to go to the office right now. Chatter anxiety is the kind that I typically deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's that restless voice in the back of your mind going, hey, this really bad thing could happen. Are you prepared for this? Or do you remember when your coworker said that really mean thing to you? Let's dwell on it for hours. If you haven't already guessed, I am a huge fan of this book. This is where I learned about the different types of anxiety, and it changed my life to understand and be able to identify what's going on in here, and this book was really helpful. So I will link it in the description down below. Highly recommend you read it if you are struggling with anxiety. So for chatter anxiety, Clark describes it as running commentary or reminders of what needs to be done. Sometimes this kind of anxiety is helpful. It will remind you to write that grocery list when you would have forgotten it and then maybe overspent at the grocery. But chatter anxiety is also exhausting. In some ways, I find it worse than the yell anxiety because at least the yell doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. Chatter can present itself as busyness or productivity or multitasking, but what it's really doing is robbing you of your peace. And now on to the last type of anxiety, the whisper. Getting ready for the day?
Yep. Almost ready to leave.
Wouldn't it just be better if you stayed in bed today? I mean, look at it. It's so inviting and soft and warm and cozy. You won't be a failure if you don't even try.
But what about work? I can't take another sick day.
Work schmirk. You have Grey's Anatomy on Netflix, Animal Crossing, and a lot of snacks in the kitchen. Just numb out and don't think about anything for a few hours. It's gonna feel so good.
Well, I guess I could just say I have a family emergency.
Now, don't you feel better?
I do. I can't wait for some sweet, sweet hours of numbing out. Gotta check on my island.
I used to think that I vacillated between depression and anxiety, but what was really happening to me was I was vacillating between chatter anxiety and whisper anxiety. It tells you mean things about yourself, it tells you that your life is meaningless, and you just want to numb out. The way that this manifested for me in a really big way was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was so in a bad place mentally, and I was doing all of my work. Like I was a nanny and a waitress and I was doing all of those things. But when I wasn't actively on the job, I was completely checked out. I was binge watching Grey's Anatomy. And when I wasn't binge watching Grey's Anatomy, I was playing a video game. And those things are fine in moderation, but it was so much. It was like, I did not want to spend 1 second thinking and being in my brain alone. I just wanted constant distraction. And it felt like this terrible cloak around my days and my life. And I finally worked up the courage to tell my mom, like, hey, like this is happening and I'm really ashamed, but this is what I'm doing. And then I was able to take steps to climb out of that. But yeah, so basically that's my own experience with whisper anxiety turning into like something really, really bad. For me, it's been really freeing just to identify what kind of anxiety I'm feeling. For example, like today, I'm kind of having a chatter anxiety day, and I can recognize that and say, my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. What tools do I have in my arsenal to make these symptoms not as bad? For example, can I go for a walk? Can I go to yoga? Can I do some meditation? There are tools that you can do to make these symptoms less bad. And this is where a therapist comes in handy, because they can help you distinguish what kind of anxiety you have and then come up with tools to make your life more manageable. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this. What kind of anxiety do you have? Did this help you at all? Do you want to see more videos like this? Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.